Hi everyone, this is a story about my ankle fusion. So, in the beginning, I had a traumatic accident. I was paramotoring and ran out of gas. I should have went down, but I went around for one more circle. Now, where I fell was just loaded with trees and there was nowhere to go. So, all I could do was just slow my descent by just flaring the wing. And here I come into basically a catcher's mitt of trees. And for a split second, I'm like, okay, what do I want to break? It was like, go in face first, head first, both feet. So I just stuck up my right foot, my right leg. And it caught the first tree. And it was able to turn me in my seated position in my paraglider 90 degrees, where I just kind of like elevator down the tree from there. And I looked, so now everything kind of stopped, and I looked down at my foot, and the foot was completely off. The bottom of my tibia, my leg, separated completely. It was basically about 10 inches from the bottom of my tibia, which was all exposed. But it was still hanging on with the Achilles tendon and the main vein. So I could actually wiggle my foot while it was separated. So it just so happened, like you hear a lot of good stories, there was a paramedic in the area. This was at a public park in Bradenton, Florida. And I started yelling for help right away. Help, 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 help. So no more than about 6 minutes, I looked, I saw a paramedic guy coming down the field from me. It just so happened I was right by a parking area, maybe 40 feet away. And so he's coming with his bag, and he comes down, and he put a tourniquet on me right away on my right thigh. It was my right leg, right foot. So that tourniquet hurt like crazy. If you guys have ever had a tourniquet put on you, oh my God. So now the ambulance is there. They are assessing me for other damage. They just cut right up my shirt, like and that was the only damage I had. I did have one broken rib. So now, cracked rib. So now the one paramedic guy, he strong dude. I had already unbuckled myself out of the seat because I didn't want them to cut the buckles of the paraglider, the chair. So anyhow, one guy picked me right up, and I was about 200 pounds. So he just picked me right off the ground. And they got a hold of me and situated me on the gurney and stabilized me, and then here I am off to the hospital. So I went to Blake Hospital, which is a trauma hospital, and they started working on me right away, and no delay. And so now they have me bandaged up, sedated with ice, and so they were just formulating a plan of what to do. So they managed to put the foot back on with a fixation device, an outside fixation device, where it had basically two screws here and the apparatus, like two bars, metal bars here and everything, and through the bottom of the foot was holding it back on. And now the doctor comes, the orthopedic surgeon comes in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes, "We can't close it." I'm like, Why not? And I'm praying to God that they can just. I didn't know what was going on. I was on oxys or whatever, morphine. And he goes, well, there's no skin, there's no flesh there. It was all debrided out, like cleaned out, and they couldn't use it. So there was like a good 5 to 6 inch spot where they had nothing to fill it with. It was just a cavity right here on the top. Like if it was my other foot, it would have been like right here was completely missing. All that skin and what was underneath there. And you could actually see bone. So I go, well, what are we gonna do? Like, what can you? He's like, well, we can do flap surgery. I never heard of flap surgery before, but it's where they actually go inside your stomach and they can use a muscle. A muscle can go anywhere in your body and perform that. Like, it'll just lay in there on top of the bone, and then you just cover it with the skin. Easier said than done. So that's what they did. And this thing was the size of like one of them little Nerf footballs on my ankle now. So I'm like, okay, how long is this? So the recovery time for all that, for the flap to mature, the skin to grow over it, and everything to heal down there was 7 months. 7 months by itself. And then he was able to go in and take the flap down, reduce it. What do they call that? Anyway, he was able to reduce the size of it. So now I'm like, there's no way I'm going back to work, because they were able to rebuild the joint in the ankle, but they did not give it much hope. So it was like a lot of screws, a lot of hardware, and basically it was trying to put a yard sale back together. It was just so they said, chances aren't good, take it easy, go do your physical therapy, and hopefully hope for the best. So I did all that. Went to the physical therapy, and the joint was actually moving just like normal, but it was very stiff, and so they said, so I went in for an X-ray after 13 visits to the my physio therapist there. And so anyway, the X-ray showed that the joint was still intact, and the screw, everything was there, hardware and everything. And I had, here was the thing, I only had 25% or less of my cartilage left. So there's supposed to be a nice gap between your talus and the bottom of your tibia to make that joint. You're supposed to have like a nice, I don't know, I'd say 1/4 inch of cartilage in there. I had just a thin layer left. So that wasn't good either. So I wasn't going to have much time on it, even if the ankle was good. So now, so I said, well, so before this, I applied for Social Security. Maybe about 2 months after the accident, I said, oh man, just in case, I better apply, because, who knows. So now I said, well, let me try to do what job can I do that's like really easy. See, I worked at the post office before inside as a mail handler, and I would, everything's walking around in there, and the place is the size of a football field, and you got to push like 700-pound. Well, I don't know how much they weigh exactly, but 5 to 700-pound carts full of mail sometimes, and you just got to get them out of the way or load them on these little tow motor things they call them. And even that, it's very labor intensive. Or you just got to stand there at a machine all night, freaking lumping boxes of mail through the machine, which, you know, I didn't see my ankle doing that. So, and you couldn't sit down. That's one thing at the post office, you cannot sit down. So, yeah, they have light duty, but even just walking to the time clocks would be too much. So, anyway, let's see. So that wasn't going to happen. So I decided, well, what other job can I do that's easy? You know, that I'm not going to be on my feet a lot. I said, well, what about delivery? I'll just do deliveries. So I applied at Advanced Auto Parts, and in the beginning it was fine. I was able to, you know, do my deliveries, just auto parts, nothing too strenuous, nothing too heavy, and then, you know, get in the truck and then relax, take the weight off, and then anyway, let me leave you here with part 1, and I'll pick this up. All right, thanks, guys.